Good morning and welcome back to the Thought of the Day. Our final time together this week. We have been looking at Jesus through the Old Testament, and today we are moving forward all the way to 1 Samuel to look at some of the story of David. We are in 1 Samuel chapter 17, a famous story of David and Goliath. Now, David is, at this point, is a shepherd boy who comes to make sure his brothers who are in the army have got enough food to last them. And he hears story of this champion of the Philistines who has been presented, Goliath. And if a champion of the Israelites can face him and defeat him, then they won't have to go to war with the Philistines and they won't become slaves of the Philistines. But nobody's stepping forwards. Nobody thinks they can do it. And so David decides, I'll do it. I can take him down because I've got the Lord with me. And so Saul gives David his armor and his tunic and his sword, but David can't move in them properly. They're too heavy. He's not used to them. And so he doesn't want to use them, doesn't use the armor, doesn't use the sword. Instead, he has his staff and his sling, and he gathers some pebbles from the river. David doesn't use the weapons of the world that the army would have expected him to. Instead, he relies on God. And it says in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verses 45, David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands." It is this apparent weakness of David's, just a boy with a staff and a sling, but with the strength of God behind him, that he defeats Goliath. David goes on to become king, a great military leader with an army behind him. And so when it is prophesied that Jesus, the Messiah, would be of the line of David, it's expected by many that this Messiah would also be a great king, a great military leader who would come and defeat the enemies by strength and sword and spear. But in fact, when Jesus comes as this Messiah, it is when he is alone, beaten, mocked, humiliated, put up on the cross to die. It is in that weakness of Jesus that the strength of God shines through to defeat the ultimate enemy of the devil. It's not with armies, it's not with strength of number or steel. It is through reliance on God that we are saved. Just in the same way that it wasn't with Saul's armor and sword that David defeated Goliath and freed the Israelites from this potential defeat. But it was through his weakness and his reliance on God's strength. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. A final piece of Jesus in the Old Testament, but I'm sure there are more. So if you know of any, I would love to hear them in the comments. I hope that this week has been eye-opening, and I hope it's been encouraging. And I pray that you will continue to look for Jesus in the Old Testament as well as the New. Thank you.